This is The Raid, exposing the dark world of America's deportation machine. I'm your host, John Carlos Frey. On the podcast today is Memo Torres. He's the Director of Engagement and a multimedia journalist for the James Beard award-winning and popular LA Taco. He's also the host of the Daily Memo, which chronicles apprehensions by ICE and Border Patrol throughout Southern California. Almost daily, he details the raids by reporting a list of places where people have been apprehended, and if available, he reads names and sometimes the tactics used during apprehension. The Daily Memo has become a chilling account of the human toll for the ongoing immigration raids. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. I don't think that a lot of people know about your history before LA Taco. I don't know if it's out there very much, so if it's okay with you, I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions about how this all started.
Yes, of course.
You had a landscape business before?
Yes.
Just so you know, I had a landscape business before.
Oh,
too.
really?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I was a landscaper before I was an actor, and then I was an actor, and then I became a journalist.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like you, I've had many, many careers before I got here.
Okay, so I'm not just the only unicorn in this.
Exactly. So tell me about the transition.
So yes, I grew up third generation landscaping. My grandparents did it. My dad did it. My dad was always very tough. He couldn't come home and see me just being lazy at home. So if I was in sixth grade, seventh grade, and you see me just playing video games, he'd be like, "Get out there and pull some weeds."
He was my father too. I had that same one.
So yeah, I just kind of grew up with that work ethic of always working on weekends, and then eventually I went to college, came back, couldn't find a job. So I just kind of got back into gardening and building a landscape company with my dad, and then we split up, and I took my clients and he kept his old school clients. And yeah, I had a landscape company for about 15, 16 years. And then about 2019, a friend of mine came back from Mexico to help relaunch LA Taco as a publication. So he took it from being a blog where people just posted about weed, graffiti, and tacos to actual covering some news, culture, being more editorial. And I got involved around that time because I was like, well, they were small. They didn't have anybody that was mobile around the city. And I'm like, I'm all over the city. I'm eating tacos everywhere all the time and no spots.
That's easy.
Yeah. So I started helping with pictures, and then I kind of saw what LA Taco was doing. And
but did you have thoughts about being a journalist back then?
Never.
You just were going to do the taco thing?
Never, yeah. I mean, I went to school, I went to college, and the one thing I hated the most was reading and writing. And here I am being a journalist.
You were a sociology major?
Sociology major.
What is sociology?
Kind of study of institutions and people, organizations, and the interactions between all of them.
Life,
basically. And any institution, institutions could be anything that's the family unit to big corporations or governments, and just how all those groups interact and intersect and operate.
Well, I mean, that's a piece of it already, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so you were interested in how human dynamics work?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're eating tacos and you're writing about tacos?
Yeah, so now I'm going around sending pictures about tacos, and then Javier Cabral takes over, and he's like, well, literally tells me the words, "Hey, fool, you're not stupid. You went to college. You know how to write. So why don't you write about the tacos you're taking pictures of?" I'm like, okay. So I started writing, and Javier Cabral kind of mentored me as a journalist, writing about food, and then covering other topics in Los Angeles.
So I have to ask you, because you're kind of making it happen, what's the best place for a taco in LA?
Oh, the closest one to you, man.
Do you guys still do that? Do you
Yeah.
still do? Okay.
Yeah, we just revamped a couple months ago our top 69 tacos of LA. So we have that list ranked. We started ranking them a couple years ago, so it's a pretty bold choice. It's an interesting conversation in the studio.
It's an interesting conversation, but I want it to be, because what you found yourself doing, what you're doing now, didn't happen. You didn't plan this. So this happened to you, as opposed to you seeking it. So go from now writing about tacos, and how you started to transition into what we're seeing today.
So at LA Taco over the years, for about 6 years, we've been covering news as well. And Javier's always kind of encouraged all of us to kind of write about something different every now and then. And so people that wrote strictly about news, he'd encourage them to write about food, get the creative writing going. And people wrote about, like me, tacos to cover maybe something civic or something to get our more standard reporting down. So he was very, very good about like getting our feet wet in different parts of journalism.
You were writing about tacos and news, but maybe somewhere I read that you wanted to be a journalist or you didn't want to be a journalist.
No, journalism was never.
Journalism happened to you.
Happened to me. I just stumbled into it. Like literally stumbled into it.
It stumbled into you. You were not planning this path at all.
No, not at all. Yeah, this is not something I ever planned for myself.
You didn't like to write.
I didn't like to write.
You didn't think about using cameras to tell stories necessarily, or?
No, none of that.
Do you feel like you got picked?
Do I feel like I got picked?
Like a bigger hand, almighty
like
hand?
The hand of God. I do feel like it's a bit of, I always thought the fate and destiny were supernatural, mystical words, right? I didn't really believe in like fate and destiny as much, but it's weird. Like it's like my whole life, I've had so many different jobs. I've been in carnicerias, I've been in cubicles, I've been sales, I've been in service. I mean, I've done all kinds of jobs, and in different industries. So I feel like this moment in LA Taco, as the immigration started, was like I was just found myself exactly at the moment I needed to be, and something just kind of switched. Taking
pictures of tacos and writing about tacos to covering the immigration raids. Now, was that because that's what was going on, and you guys were on the ground already?
Yeah, it just it was more like everybody was coming to us. We've spent 6 years. It's funny, through food, we were able to build a lot of real tight connections with community.
You guys had a following because
we had a following because of food, and also because we covered like local organizations, little nonprofits, and the stories we did cover about police corruption or city hall and keeping people informed. We had built like a I don't want to say cult following, but like a strong following, people that looked to us and trust us for information. To the point where, like, if another news organization covers a story, they'll look to us and be like, we want you guys to look into it. What do you guys have to say? Which is pretty powerful. So when the raid started, people just started looking to us, like, what's happening in LA Taco? Like, my families just got taken. We just saw them over here. They're over there with masks. Like, is this legal? Like, what's happening? So it just became like this influx of information of people just crying out to us, like, we need answers. So people are trying to scramble to figure out how to cover it or how to learn what's happening.
This is in June?
This is in June. And then we started going out there on the streets. We were covering the protests for 9 days. And then it just became overwhelming. And that's when I decided to just be like, okay, somebody needs to sit down and just gather all this information, process it, verify information, and get it out. At first we were going to attempt to deliver it as it was happening. We realized like we can't do that. One, there was too much information, incorrect, a lot of misinformation. People didn't know what they were seeing. We'd get like just random videos that said ISIS here, and we're like, okay, cool, where is here? Like what location, what time? Is that ICE? People were just starting freaking out. Any pictures of a black SUV, they thought it was ICE. Any white van, they thought it was ICE. So it was like a big, quick, like learning quickly and fast how to cover this and how to report it back to people.
Instead of being live on the street, you would bring it back to the studio and analyze it, process it, and then do like a daily report kind of thing?
Yeah. So eventually, like on June 19th, I decided to start doing the Daily Memo, which is my nightly recap where I can kind of tell everybody what happened today.
You do the report every night?
Almost every single night, yeah.
For how many days? Because you count the days.
Well, the raid's been going on for today's day 242. And I've been doing it since June 19th, which is 19 minus 6, 13 days after the first raid. That's when I started doing the Daily Memo.
Do you think of yourself as a journalist now?
Yeah, I definitely do. Without a doubt. Every day I'm literally writing a journal of what happened that day in LA with the raids.
Tell me how you gather the information, because for those of you, people who have not seen what you do, you recount what happened in the day, right? Where were the raids? How many people did they apprehend? You call them kidnappings.
Yeah. Kidnappings, abductions, arrest detainees. I mean, yeah, you can call them anything you want, really.
Why do you call them kidnappings?
Well, I mean, first of all, you have people that are masked, unidentified. They're grabbing people without due process. They're not showing warrants. They're not reading their Miranda rights. They're not going through the proper arresting procedures. They're not giving them their right to an attorney to call somebody. They'll throw them in a detention center for days before somebody can locate them, if they're lucky enough to locate them. And by the time they do, they might not even be in the state anymore. They might be flown somewhere else. They're generally disappeared in the system. So what do you call somebody when they're masked, thuggish, without any due process, that grabs somebody, throws them in a truck, and disappears them for days? That's kidnapping, you know?
And how do you gather? You cover most of Southern California. I mean, I've heard reports from Escondido and San Diego and north up to Santa Barbara. And
yeah.
So you have people on the ground who are calling in or emailing you, texting you?
I've developed relationships with a lot of responders from across the state. So I communicate with them, but also they've done a great job of just documenting themselves on their own feeds. So at the beginning, people didn't know how to document. Now people have gotten really good at verifying themselves if it's an actual ICE or which department, right? Because a lot of people use ICE as a general term. It's the catch-all. But ICE is a specific department, and then Border Patrol is another specific department, and then you have HSI, ERO, and sometimes ATF and DEA come into the mix. It's all a bunch of acronyms, right? 3-letter words. But people need to understand that the way ICE operates is different than the way Border Patrol. And what you're seeing out there, when people are yelling at ICE agents, you know, it's really Border Patrol. They're the violent ones. They're the ones that shot Renee Good and Alex Peretti. You also have, and you do have some ICE agents that are also, you know, not the best. But
the press in general doesn't get that part right.
No, most of the press. I've talked with national press and tried to explain that to them too, and they still don't get it.
Everything is ICE raids.
Everything is ICE. And I'm like, so when they start talking about abolish ICE and all that stuff, it gets a little complicated. We're like, cool, I'm still cool with abolishing ICE, but Border Patrol, nobody's talking about Border Patrol. And they're the ones perpetrating the violence, the racial stereotyping, the random kidnappings, the brutality, the militarized outfits. That's all Border Patrol. They're like the paramilitary we brought from the border into our cities versus ICE that had already been operating, doing targeted arrests. So I think people really need to understand the difference between that.
Are you aware that Border Patrol have always operated this way? They've been around for 100 years. They've been on the border enforcing immigration laws, keeping migrants from crossing the border, or if they do cross the border, apprehending them. They usually just work along that stretch and making sure people don't come in. But their tactics are like that we're seeing in Minneapolis or in Los Angeles. They are brutal.
They are.
They have beaten migrants. They have brutalized them. They have murdered them. They have tortured them, all without any repercussion, with impunity. So this is the way they operate. This is the way they've been taught to operate. This is part of their training.
Yeah, just like one example, a major difference is Border Patrol has been trained and they operate by breaking windows and dragging people out of cars. ICE wasn't trained, or that wasn't part of their MO.
Right, so they just brought how they've been operating on the border to the inner parts of the United States.
Exactly.
And it's accepted. I mean, their training is that way.
Yeah.
So this violation of the Fourth Amendment or due process or civil liberties has always been a part of how a migrant is treated if they encounter a Border Patrol agent.
Yes, that's nothing new.
And even to the point of killing. There isn't a Border Patrol agent who's ever been prosecuted or found guilty of killing somebody.
Right. And, you know, if you find bodies in the desert, you could be somebody that starved to death, or maybe they were murdered. We don't know. And
we'll never know.
Yeah.
And this has been acceptable by the U.S. government for forever.
Forever, as long as you've been covering it. I mean, even before that.
Yeah. So I need to ask you, you document, that's my term, you document what happens daily with immigration raids in the region that you live, in the region that you report on. What is the benefit of giving the numbers and telling people where it happened?
Well, like for the last several months, I felt like I've been fighting this disinformation across the U.S. where people believe that ICE and Border Patrol has left L.A. You know, people, I've seen them in Minnesota, Charlotte, even Louisiana, and they think, oh yeah, Border Patrol isn't in L.A. Even our own mayor was saying, well, they're not here anymore, and we only see 2 or 3 raids a day. She was saying that for a couple of weeks before I called her out, and then people started calling her out. And I mean, that's just not fair to the folks of L.A. who are constantly under terror. They're constantly being terrorized in the streets and being abducted. Their family members disappeared. People were saying that ICE and Border Patrol were out of L.A. the week that they set new records for the amount of raids and people taken. There was like one day was like 50 raids in 2 days and about 50 people taken in 2 days, which is something I wouldn't report for 2 weeks. And then last week on Wednesday, they broke another record. They did about 50 different sightings. But it's also important to let people know that because Community Watch and rapid responders are so effective and they're out there and they're quick and they put their bodies on the line, instead of seeing 50 abductions, it was only about 25 to 30. And that's important to point out too, that like
because of rapid response.
Yes, and Community Watch, and it works. It doesn't eliminate it, but it gravely reduces the damage that they can do.
I'm getting a sense that you feel targeted. You personally, your people, Latinos, the community feels targeted by a group of people who, you use the words racially profile, break the laws, are going after a group of people because of who they are and what they look like.
I think that our people are being used. I don't think I don't think the main goal is our people, or the target is immigration. I think it's an easy group of people that this government can flex and experiment to what end they can get away with using these powers of brutality, right? He's building this huge military force, private secret force for himself called ICE, right? Donald Trump is building this big militarized force for himself, and he's showing that, first of all, you take this group of immigrants that you can scapegoat all U.S.'s problems on. And if you can convince enough people to be okay with the brutality of the way they, impede on their rights or impede on the rights of any but U.S. citizen that tries to step in for them or defend them, then you can now legitimate and normalize their behavior.
The agents, the officers involved. Yeah,
you can normalize the behavior of the agents and officers involved to violate U.S. constitutional rights of people, of citizens. Because a lot of people forget the Constitution doesn't only protect citizens; it just protects people in the borders.
This is a test?
So I think this is a test. This is how he's using immigration to flex these powers and see how much he can get away with.
To what end, though? What to take over? To have control over the country?
Well, we know that he's building a list of domestic terrorists, which is basically anybody that speaks out against him. We know he's going after journalists. We saw him take Don Lemon and 3 other black journalists. We saw him raid a Washington Post journalist's house who did a report against Donald Trump and ICE. We saw him deport, what was his name, Miguel Guevara?
The reporter from Georgia?
Yeah, the reporter from Georgia. They revoked his visa and deported him. We saw him go after Richard Alay, who was a local reporter who was chasing ICE around town. They shot him in the elbow. They still have him. They have denied bond for him. We saw him go after influencers like Tatiana Martinez, who was also chasing around ICE, and then deported her as well. You're seeing him going after for the first, people of color that are going against him. It's going to be. It's not going to be too long before he starts going against white folks that are reporting against him. So he's building this big military force and using immigrants as a testing ground.
I used to report on civil unrest in Central America, and a tactic that they would use would be to assassinate a prominent family in the neighborhood, but in public in the neighborhood, so that the neighborhood would see. Most people wouldn't come out of the house, but they would watch through the windows. And after they would do that, they had control over the neighborhood. Because they had committed a very heinous act of violence in the neighborhood and made it public so that everybody would know about it. Kind of saying to the group, the neighborhood, that you're next.
Yeah.
Or watch yourself, or you will be next. I'm hearing you say something like that?
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. I mean, they backtracked, but when they shot Renee Good, they were saying like, oh well, what was the prominent saying they were saying? Obey or die. You started hearing that from one congressman said that in the Congress. Then you had Stephen Colbert basically echo that. Obey or die.
I sent you a clip of a Border Patrol agent here in Elysian Park saying to somebody, "I'm going to make you famous."
Yeah, I'm going to make you famous.
That means I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. I saw plenty of clips where people, a couple clips where Border Patrol agents were like, "Oh, you're going to be next to community watchers if you don't step back," like right after like the Alex Peretti thing. So yeah, I mean, and they feel emboldened like they can, and they're always pulling their weapons out.
Do you feel like the last 5 minutes of this conversation can sound like a conspiracy theory?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I know it does, but like I'm watching this in real time.
So you're not whacked, crazy,
No, I don't
off way left, or...
No, I don't wear no tinfoil hats. Yeah. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. This is literally what I observe and report on every day.
It's an authoritarian takeover of the country?
Yeah, it feels like it.
And using ICE, Border Patrol, the whole federal police force as Donald Trump's personal police force?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, nobody can touch ICE.
But do you hear what you're saying? You say, yeah, you respond to me in the affirmative very easily.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, you don't even question it anymore.
No. I mean, it's mind-boggling to me that, like, I guess because I see it every single day and I see how they're operating. I see to the extent that they're testing their grounds as to how far they can get away with things. And yet a lot of people don't pay as much attention to the details. You know, they just think, oh, ICE is just going after immigrants.
Most people think that.
Yeah.
This is an immigration enforcement exercise.
Yeah, but that's the disguise. And our people are paying the price for him to be able to grow this. Behind it is he's building something way more sinister. You know, you look at Palantir Technologies, you look at all the spyware, you look at the list he's building of people that are speaking up against him. And
tell me a little bit about Palantir.
Palantir is a technology group that develops a lot of spyware. They used a lot of that in like Gaza, in Palestine against the Palestinian folks. They've repackaged a lot of that to enable it for immigration enforcement and sold it back to the U.S. And he's also, the Palantir Group's also a big donor to Trump's campaign. So a lot of the spyware they use, they have it on their phones, so they literally have facial recognition. They'll go up to you with a phone to see if you're in a domestic terrorist database or if you're a citizen or on their target list for ICE of like somebody they're looking to deport.
When there is a raid, those immigration officials, ICE, Border Patrol, whoever is the law enforcement, uses their phone for facial recognition.
Yeah.
For people that they're apprehending, and also crowds.
Yeah, and also crowds. So anybody that's stepping in to document, they're also going and documenting them.
That's not an invasion of privacy?
Of course it is. But then you have the whole system of like the fusion centers and the flock cameras around the city. And there's like about 80,000 flock cameras in the United States alone that Border Patrol has been using to track people through their license plate readers, you know, or facial recognition as well. And they're using AI to trigger alerts to let Border Patrol know when somebody they're looking for is in an area.
I just read an article a couple of days ago in the New York Times that ICE already knows who all the protesters were in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah. They know who everybody is.
You gather all this information daily from sources that you have that tell you what's going on in the areas that they cover. Yeah. There was a raid in Montebello. There was something happened in East LA or that sort of thing. And you gather this every single day and then you report it out.
Yes.
What is your day like?
That's the number one question people want to know. People want to know, what does my day look like? What does it take to actually build this Daily Memo out, to gather all these sources every single day, to verify information, to download clips, to write out your script, try to make sense of what the day was, write down the narrative, report it back on video, edit it all together, and then post it on 7 different social media websites, and publish an article form of it on your website. Yeah, it's just describing it. I mean, just imagine what my day looks like.
But it's all day long.
It's all day long. From the moment I wake up, first thing I do is pull up my phone and start checking messages. Start looking at the group chats. Start looking at social media, downloading videos, and trying to figure out where they're at.
Don't you get tired?
You get used to it.
That wasn't the question.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty tired all the time. You know,
that's the deal you're in.
That's the deal. You know, like tired is the new normal. You know, you got to learn how to operate that.
And
way.
You feel like you have to do this.
Yeah, because who else is doing it?
Nobody's doing it.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing what you're doing. It's an impossible task.
Yeah, it's an impossible task that requires a very. This is why I said I feel like destiny and fate has placed me in this position. Because nobody has the connections and the trust of so many people in different parts of the community to be able to have them serve you this intel and trust you with vital information and include you in the groups to be able to, in real time, track what's happening around the city.
You feel obligated?
Yes. Yeah. I feel like the first 2 weeks of doing the Daily Memo, I'm just like, fuck, what did I obligate myself to do every single day?
And you don't have time to stop now because it hasn't stopped.
No. I mean, I did take 3 weeks off. Thank God, we've, at LA Taco, we're member supported. So we've had a huge pouring of people to become members and donate money. We've been able to hire more staff. So now I have like 3 staff members directly reporting with me on ICE that are helping me out. Aisha Wallace is a fellow. She's doing a lot of more of an investigative, deep cover of different situations and stories. Izzy Ramirez, I was able to recruit him into the studio. He's also helping me track the raids. He's also super connected to the community. And then we just hired back an old school cat of ours, Erwin, who goes by Los Ojos. He's a photographer, but he's also tech savvy, so he's helping me document and label a lot of the stuff. So
you have some support.
I have a lot of support now. So yeah, if you're listening, you want to support the work we're doing, we can always use more members. We can always use more help. We can still use an editor.
Do you have a social life?
A social life? Yeah, I had to sacrifice some things. Yeah, I had to sacrifice a lot of time. But luckily it's fine. I mean, I'm 45. Social life is like a luxury now.
Okay. If you say so.
Well, the way I've been reporting, it seems like a luxury to me now, to have a social life.
It's getting worse.
Yeah, it's getting a lot worse. I've been reporting how there's 30 new vehicles in the Adelanto facility, still with the dealer tags. And
tell me what that means.
So Border Patrol likes to operate in these vehicles. They're unmarked. They're always changing the plates on those vehicles, so you can't verify if it's ICE or not. They're registered to different states. Sometimes the plates don't even match anything, and they use that to conceal themselves. But ironically, it gives them away. That's how we identify them.
You can tell that these are new vehicles and the tags and.
So and we just noticed that there's about 28 is what they counted. A lawyer was over there and gave me the tip that 28 brand new vehicles are sitting at the Adelanto detention facility up here by Victorville. That's where most of the migrants are at right now in Los Angeles. And we're waiting for them to get brought into the fray. And how many more agents does that mean? If it's about 2 to 4 agents, we're looking at about 60 to 90 to 120 more agents maybe operating in Los Angeles at least.
This big show of force is gone, but it seems like the raids have accelerated, but a little bit more quiet, at least as far as the cameras are concerned. You're seeing more people being apprehended in different parts of the region. Yeah.
So what Bovino did, and he got demoted, he just brought the show. He loves to put on a show. He has his own little paparazzi crew of Border Patrol agents with cameras just following him around and doing this propaganda videos that he's posting on the U.S. Border Patrol website and his own personal IG page. So he left and he takes the show, and the show commands the attention of people. And so while people were in Minneapolis and Chicago and the other parts, the troops that he left behind were still very, very effective in escalating. And they've been kind of testing different strategies on how to get around rapid responders. You remember the Operation Trojan Horse? Yeah. That's when he had the yellow Penske truck at the Westlake Home Depot, and he had a Fox News agent or Fox News reporter
embedded. Yeah.
And then they opened the truck and all ran out, and it was like, to them they thought it was the greatest show on earth, and it was just really just cringy. So that was just, he said that was a ruse to get around rapid responders. He wrote that himself in his own Instagram post. And that was the first time I realized that he's actually trying to figure out how to get around rapid responders. He's actually playing a game with community watch teams. And so when he left, he still left about 100 to 200 agents on the ground here in Southern California. And they started developing different strategies. They went from just kind of doing random raids in small groups to then just doing cluster raids through neighborhoods, which became very effective. And then the responders had to figure out how to adjust to that and how to be effective. Because at first they were just going Home Depots and car washes. And then the rapid response and the community watches were very effective at being able to alert car washes and Home Depots in an area, and then get people to safety. And so you were seeing like the numbers go down. You were seeing maybe being about 10 or 15 people kidnapped a day down to about 4 or 5 because of the responders were being so effective. So they would get really mad. And so then they changed their strategy one day. We're like, screw it. Well, we're just going to start going down the streets. So they would go to a neighborhood and just go down the main avenues and boulevards and just grab people at bus stops, riding their bikes, walking out of a grocery store.
Who were they grabbing? Brown people?
Brown people. Just anybody that was brown. And just taking people. And then you started seeing a lot of Kavanaugh stops when it's just racially profiling people and then letting them go after their citizens. Or a lot of time it was catch and verify later. And they kind of stopped that a little bit. They haven't done as much of that, but where they just grab people, put them in the SUVs, and then 3 miles down the road after they verified they're a citizen or a resident, then dump them off just on the street, like literally just throw them onto the ground. And people would get up with like lesions and hurt.
No violations of rights there, right?
Of course not, right? I mean, Kavanaugh said it's just a minor inconvenience in his Supreme Court, order. So. Yeah, and I reported on how ever since the Kavanaugh stops through, I think, the end of the year, December, there were I recorded at least 96, and it did include several situations that were difficult to confirm if they were actually taken or not.
Is there anything new you're seeing now?
Yeah, so this weekend's been eerily quiet. Border Patrol hasn't really been doing their cluster raids. They haven't been out. ICE is still kind of doing targeted attacks. But even today, it's been kind of slow. We don't know where Border Patrol's at. We think they might be planning something. We also know that because Bovino got demoted, maybe they're restructuring or waiting for their new boss. But we also know that Super Bowl is this Sunday, and we just confirmed that a bunch of agents checked into a hotel in Santa Clara right by the Super Bowl. And, Trump has been threatening to police the Super Bowl with ICE. So we don't know what's happening, if they're restructuring and rebuilding here after Bovino got demoted, or if they really are all on the Bay right now. So I get to figure that out right now when we leave.
You had said that rapid responders are sort of the force right now that maybe helps to reduce the amount of people who are being apprehended or being kidnapped, as you say. And you have a beef with LA City Council and with the mayor. You don't think that they're doing enough. There are other mayors in other cities like Chicago who have made declarations, executive orders that have kept ICE or have tried to keep ICE from coming and doing as they do, their tactics, and you're hypercritical of the way LA is doing it. Do I have that right?
Yeah, generally speaking, yeah. There's
a good piece of video of you at the microphone at an LA City Council meeting, reading them to shit. I mean, you gave them a piece of your mind that they're basically all happy that ICE is gone or Border Patrol is gone, and you're letting them know that they're not doing their job because they're still here and they're still apprehending people, but they're acting as if they've solved this problem.
Yeah. That piece of video went viral. What happened there was that Councilmember Monica Rodriguez invited me to go testify at the City Council about the raids. So I didn't really know what she meant by that. I thought I was going to sit down like this and they were going to ask me questions, and try to get more information and learn more. And to my surprise, that's not what was happening. It was she just literally introduced me. She's like, I have Memo Torres here. Memo, come say something. I'm like, what? Okay. So they weren't interested in actually questioning me and learning more. So that kind of took me off. And I was like, okay, I'm just giving a mic with no preparation. I'm like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to let them know what I think about it. And I was mad at that time because just a few weeks before that, like I mentioned earlier, Mayor Bass was going around with Al Sharpton and some other major cable networks saying the raids aren't bad anymore. We might only see 2 or 3 here and there. And I was like, what are you talking about? I literally recorded record raids. They're escalating. It's getting out of control. And then I told the council chambers too. I'm like, what are you guys doing? You guys are acting like it's not happening. People it just. I think there's a general anger out there with the community's responders and the watchers that they don't have any support. These are folks that are doing this on their own. They're leaving work early. They're paying for their own gas. They're putting their bodies on the line with a whistle, getting harassed, getting gun pointed at them by Border Patrol agents, getting dragged out of their vehicles, getting local police departments, LAPD, Anaheim PD, Bell PD. They're all stepping in and stopping these people in traffic and giving them tickets or arresting them for a day, and on behalf of Border Patrol and ICE. So we're seeing this situation where city council, the mayor, not only is willfully ignorant of what's happening in the streets, not paying attention to it. Like, why aren't you paying attention to this crisis?
Why aren't they?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, what do you think?
I don't know.
Is it a PR thing? They want people to think that they've solved it. I'm the knight in shining armor, and I've saved you.
I will tell you this: after I gave him a piece of my mind, I went to the back chamber, and some of the council members came up to me and thanked me. Some of the more progressive ones, and one council lady came up to me, and I don't even know her name. I don't know which district she represents, but she just like, I just want to say, because you called us out about not doing something about ICE. I want you to know I am doing something about ICE. I just don't want it to be public because I'm getting doxxed and death threats, and I don't want to be doxxed and death threats. So I'm like, well, in my head, I'm like, well, what the fuck are you doing here?
Right, exactly.
You're a city council representative. You're supposed to be the face and the voice of the people, and you don't want to be the face and the voice of people because you're getting doxxed and death threats. I mean, I get that as a journalist every single day. The people on the streets are literally getting doxxed and death threats, gun pointed to them daily when they're out there confronting these agents. You need to step down. Like, these people, like, if that's the general sentiment, if that's what other council members and leaders are afraid of, then they need to step down, and they need people with, like, balls to get up there who don't care about it and have their community's interest in heart. So sorry, a little passionate, but yeah, like, that's just why that's a problem I have with most of the city council members. And that's not everybody either. It's not like there are some council members doing good work out there. There are some senators doing good work out there. There are some county supervisors doing good work out there.
I find politicians are the wrong place for leadership.
Yeah. What we need right now is somebody who can pull everybody together and unify everybody to stand up. I think it's a fucking embarrassment that Los Angeles is one of the largest cities in the nation, with the biggest populations, with one of the best sports teams, like, in any division, right? Any league. And we can't get our shit together to stand up to Trump. We talk a big game about California and don't poke the bear. And here we are, like, they're too concerned with their local constituents and writing bullshit bills instead of actually uniting to confront this administration that is making an embarrassment and a mockery of our leaders.
So it's a political move. They don't want to upset the administration, is why they're staying kind of timid.
Yeah, and I think they lost the fight.
And you call out the mayor for the same reason.
Yeah.
She's going to be sitting here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
She's coming on the podcast. What do I say to her about that?
I mean, I have my own personal ideas as to why she doesn't say anything, but
this is the time to say it if you
feel like it. And I understand people also will be like, our mayor isn't doing anything, and I think people also need. I do want to be fair and acknowledge that the mayor doesn't have as much power.
Yeah, the structure of her authority is a little bit different. She has to have the police union involved. She has to have city council involved. She can't just issue an order.
Yeah, she can't just do that. So people need to understand that she just can't, like Chicago mayor or, New York's mayor.
But she's cozying up to Don Lemon when he gets out of prison, and she's doing a big press conference.
And she's saying, like, oh, now they're arresting black journalists. I'm like, her own police department has been arresting our black journalists, Lexus Olivia Ray, time and time again, shooting at them, like less than lethals, injuring him. Our reporter, Lexus Olivia, is constantly putting his body out on the line, and she's never once had a concern about him. So
I just because I'm older than you, I just want to tell you that a politician, for the most part, doesn't always do what's right.
No, they do what's good for the camera.
They do what's good for their vote.
Yeah.
If this is going to get me more votes, then I'll say I'll stand in front of the camera. Just like the council person who said to you, I'm doing this quietly. I'm doing this behind the scenes because she doesn't want to offend a certain part of her constituency.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's the place to go to resolve this. It doesn't seem like it.
No, and I've been telling people that it's really going to come down to the people.
It's only the people.
Yeah. And I've been calling out the police departments too. It's like
they're alongside them.
Yeah. I'm like, you're quick to say you can't impede on federal immigration operations, but you will impede on their behalf when community watchers are trying to do the protecting the service that they won't. You'll come in and step in. You'll block them. You'll arrest them. You detain them on behalf of Border Patrol. I'm like if you're saying you can't impede on federal immigration operations, then why impede at all when they call you about community patrollers recording them and following them and reporting what they're doing? Like, pick one. You can't have both.
It just seems like the whole system is broken.
Yeah.
And I believe it's broken because the system itself is what the problem is.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this has really challenged our form of government in Los Angeles and shown the weakness, you know. I mean, it was set up so that not one person would have so much control. But now people are like, why can't somebody just make a difference?
Not only that, if you take what we see in city council, local government, and you expand it out to the country, we have been taking advantage of these people for decades.
Mm-hmm.
We have abused the system for decades. We have invited them in to work on our farms and our fields and construction sites and not given them any rights, not given them any legal authority. And now all of a sudden, we want to try and protect them. There's no infrastructure to protect them.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a law on the books to protect an undocumented person necessarily. We might have a driver's license here in California, but to the feds, it means nothing.
Right.
So we have abused them and the system for a long time. So I don't think that there's any way that you can step in front of the feds and protect them, at least from politicians' point of view. Do you see it that way?
Yeah.
I mean, you said your father came, he was undocumented when he was here.
Yeah, he came when he was like 16. You know, I think it was like my grandpa was working. I think my grandpa might have been the Bracero program. He was going back and forth. And then my uncles came, and then they just stayed here. They just started their own companies, got married. Yeah.
So we look the other way as long as they kept their nose clean and they worked for us.
Yeah.
Us meaning them.
Right. Yeah.
As long as you stayed on your job and you didn't cause any trouble, we'll let you stay,
Mm-hmm.
which is abusive.
Mm-hmm.
We only want the sweat off your back. We don't want to give you a vote.
And, you know, for a lot of Mexicans, that's a saying that goes around, right? Calladito te ves más bonito. Like, quieter, you look prettier.
So how could it be anybody else who protects them if they've never protected them?
Right.
We've created a police force at the border that can abuse them and kill them with impunity, and now all of a sudden we want Border Patrol to act decent.
No, they're acting with that same impunity.
But we built that system.
Yeah.
Do you see it that way too?
Yeah. Especially the Democrats. They're the ones that kept funding it so they could get a bill or two passed so they look good for their constituents.
So, I mean, I'm leading to a place with you, a couple of things left. What do you do, given the fact that we've talked about Trump is creating a secret army, local law enforcement, police forces are not protecting the people? You're asking residents, locals, to do the job of law enforcement and city government. How do you see this evolving? Do you have a crystal ball?
I don't have a crystal ball, but it's definitely headed towards dangerous territory. The way I see it, it's like these are all precursors to like Trump trying to instigate a civil war. I think somebody in that administration is trying to instigate some kind of civil war. Because look, I get why mayors and governors are afraid to have their police stand up to ICE and Border Patrol, even if they don't have the authority, right? Even if there's a supremacy clause and they can't impede on federal operations, I think it's still bullshit. I mean, you know, you're letting the government overstep all their powers. This is kind of a time for you to also overstep your powers, you know? I mean, you have to meet the moment. But I understand why they don't. I understand why they're afraid to order the police forces to get into conflict with federal immigration agents. I understand why they don't want to put the National Guard to go toe-to-toe with federal immigration agents. Because then somebody pulls a trigger and all of a sudden you're at a fucking war.
But you're in a crisis moment. If you're not going to do it now, when are you going to do it?
Right. So when does that decision happen?
When do you fight back? It's not going to happen there.
Yeah.
It's already been close to a year. So when?
Mm-hmm.
Next month? What? Yeah. You shoot a white girl in her truck as she's driving away from conflict?
Yeah. And
you shoot her 3 times, or you shoot somebody else 9 times in the back?
We had like over 30 last year in total detention and being shot. And we've had like 11 last month.
When
total.
I was reporting at the border, I counted 200 migrants.
Nobody counts those.
I never saw a memorial to them. I never saw people get up and protest and see what we're seeing in the streets.
And you know this too. What we'll point out is that what the numbers we know are ICE detention and ICE killings. And some of the Border Patrol ones don't even count in the ICE detention numbers. Border Patrol has a whole other set of deaths that aren't even reported, that we can't even get numbers for.
Of course.
like people don't even
they
realize
have a system
that.
in place to cover it up.
So when we're saying like 11 in the first month, 30 last year, we don't even know what Border Patrol has in numbers out there.
Correct.
There's a whole other section of deaths that aren't being reported.
Right. So back to your crystal ball that you don't have. You don't have.
Well, that's why I tell people, like, stop using ICE as the catch term. Border Patrol is doing a more I mean, not to say that ICE are angels. They're not. But Border Patrol is the most egregious, brutal, savage system of uncontrolled, acting with impunity, with nobody to hold them back. Like,
it's a military force.
It's a military force. Yeah.
And they're going to shoot first because there is an enemy. They have the mentality of enemy, not peacekeeper, not de-escalator, not check your papers first and arrest you. We're going to consider you to be the threat first.
Yes.
That's how military operates.
Everyone's an enemy.
So what do you see in a month from now or 6 months from now, or we get closer to the election or the midterms?
I think Trump's going to stir up chaos. I think he's planning an escalation. I think he's going to have people, he's going to try to intimidate the voting booths. I think he's going to try to incite some kind of insurrection or be able to cancel elections somehow.
And since you're a voice for the community here, how do you not scare people to death by what you just said? How do you try to engage the community to what? What do you want us to do with that information?
There's a lot of people in the community that just don't want a part of it. They don't want to pay attention to it. They don't want to acknowledge it. They want to think that it's not that bad. And I'm not here to fearmonger. I'm not here to scare
No,
the
you
shit
know
out of
what's
people.
happening.
But this is what's happening, It's like...
So I'm asking you, how do we respond to what you just said?
It's like you're asking me, there's a fire growing in the house and there's gasoline on the floor. Like, what do you think's going to happen? And me telling people, well, like, the gasoline's going to catch fire and the whole thing's going to burn down unless somebody and people do something about it. And the firemen aren't going to show up, so you guys have to put that fire out. And it sounds like fear-mongering, but that's the reality of the situation. Like, I'm just telling you, this is what's happening.
The community has to stand up more strong. We need more numbers. We need people to stop putting their head in the sand, all of that.
All of that. I've been telling people, like, regardless if you have time to join a rapid response or a community watch or if you agree with us or not, people need to freshen up on their rights. They need to go to a training, learn how to document, learn how to do it safely, because these goons are going to come to your neighborhood.
Are you emboldened by what happened in Minneapolis, by the response of the people?
I'm emboldened by every video I see every single day here in Los Angeles. Yeah. That doesn't embolden me. That just angers me.
So, lastly, y gracias. You, I think I asked you this before, and you kind of shoved it off. I'm concerned about you, because they're not fucking around anymore. I mean, if journalists are the detractors, the voice of reason, information, telling the truth, they don't want the truth out there. Mm-hmm. They want to take over. So dissenters, which is probably how they see you, are also going to be targets if you haven't been already. Do you think about that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm well aware of it. I've had my phone hacked. I think I was followed the other day. I know my reporter Izzy was followed the other day. Yeah, our day of reckoning is going to come.
It is Mexicano. I can detain you.
Yeah, they're going to detain me and try to verify my U.S. citizenship later. In the meantime, they'll give me probably some good lickings or something. Something's coming for me, but it's happening to my people. It's happening to all those people, and thank God, I think I'm in a position in life where I think I can afford that risk.
You weren't this guy when you had your landscape business. You weren't this guy when you didn't even know that you were a journalist.
I mean, I've always been passionate about helping community. Back in college, I ran nonprofit organizations to help out other students apply to college, Latinos. I've always looked out for Latinos. I've seen the differences in the way Latinos are treated, even through landscaping especially. You see a lot of the passive racism out there from people.
You had a couple of your employees taken, right?
Yeah, some of my employees were taken after I sold my company. One of them's back already.
Oh, it doesn't work, does it?
Doesn't work.
They find a way back.
He's back. But yeah, I don't know. I've always been outspoken and had a temper and never really had patience for injustice.
What do you see as the end game? Where does this end?
Where does this end? I don't know. I hope it ends with Trump in jail, with all these people in jail. I hope it ends where what I'm seeing, and I'm hoping at least continuing silver linings here, right? I'm seeing people unify. I'm seeing people finding a common enemy. I'm seeing people understand the corruption in the system and how broken it is. And I'm seeing people understand that it's not politicians that are going to help you out, it's yourselves. You want to see change, you want to defend your communities, it has to be you. So I hope that this leads to a situation where there's stronger community building, an understanding that civics isn't just about your political leaders, but it's all your own engagement and involvement as well. And with criminals in the fucking jail, that they need to be there. You know, the Trump administration, all the pedophile protectors, all those guys.
I am seeing the Latino community, the immigrant community, with the strongest voice I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
If there is going to be immigration reform in the future, it's because of what's happening now.
Yeah.
We're not going to go backward. We're not going to allow this kind of oppression in the future. I'm seeing those leaders and those voices, you being one of them, coming forward in a way that says, fuck you, if this is the way we've been treated in the past, I'm going to make sure it never happens again. I've not seen that before.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, I don't care what they say. There's nothing they can do to scare me. My whole life has been witness to bad immigration policy from 187 to 209 to remove affirmative action. I was the first student in college without affirmative action. I saw the effects of that. Growing up, I had a lot of racist experience from different communities, even working in gardening. I mean, yeah, I'm just kind of fed up with it.
Good. I'm glad you're in the space that you're in. I'm glad you answered the call.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm.
Gracias a ti. Thank you for listening to The Raid, available wherever you get your podcasts. For more information about our guests and the subjects we cover, please visit our website at theraidpodcast.org.